Oh, already. Right. All right, well, welcome everyone to Assembly District 25's Asian American Heritage Month recognition event. As we are nearing the end of Asian American Heritage Month, we are really excited to welcome the many active community members in our community who make it so vibrant, and also to recognize the great Asian Americans that contribute to our community. I'm Assembly Member Alex Lee, of course, wonderfully to be able to, and honored to represent 25th Assembly District, which actually is only one of two Assembly districts, which is a majority of Asian Americans. I will not be on the event fully at the time because unfortunately I'm hopping in between committees in the state capitol at the moment, but I just wanted to recognize all the great work you do, and also take a quick moment of silence just to recognize the incredible tragedy that has fallen upon our community, especially our VTA family, the folks that literally move our communities. Just want to take a quick, brief moment of silence in recognition of the loss. Thank you for that. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you for keeping our VTA family in your prayers and thoughts. And with that, we'll get started with the program. Thank you so much.
Chelsea.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. And so I wanted to start off by introducing the Vietnamese American Roundtable and what they do. So the Vietnamese American Roundtable's mission is to mobilize, advocate for, and inform the Vietnamese American community of the critical issues that impact their lives. They accomplish their mission through building coalitions, strategic advocacy, and organizing meaningful community events for all. They are community volunteers who work collaboratively to research, develop, promote, and support programs and projects that benefit the local community. So now I'd like to turn it over to Anthony, who's going to introduce our first honoree.
Thank you so much for that. So I'm here as a representative of the Vietnamese American Roundtable. My name is Anthony Lay, spells L-E, but pronounced Lay, as in legacy, as in the person I'm introducing is leaving a legacy that can only inspire us for greater action and for greater equitable world. And I have the honor to introduce this amazing advocate for marginalized communities, passionate leader that works to build coalition across many CBOs. I had to shorten this list a little bit, right? But this is some of the stuff that she's done. She was awarded the Community Hero Award from Assembly Member Canton Chu, held multiple senior and executive roles at different nonprofits, such as the Vietnamese Bar Association of Northern California and the Vietnamese American Roundtable. She was also part of many commissions, such as the commissions that calls the community to join in police reform, anti-Asian hate, solidarity, and greater social equity. Our community is stronger and better because of her. She is strong, she is mighty, a Wonder Woman, and I can't think of anyone else who is more deserving of this award from Assembly Member Alex Lee, API Heritage Recognition Night. So send good vibes and good energy, and please welcome my fellow Vietnamese American Roundtable board member and dearest friend, Mimi Nguyen.
Hi, thanks, Anthony. Thank you, Assemblymember Alex Lee and team for this honor. I am deeply humbled to be here alongside many amazing leaders in our community. I have many people to thank, so I thank my quarantine, my husband, my daughter, my sister. Oh, good job, Sophia. And this is Sophia. My family, my friends who have supported my tireless work and provide me with the grace to spend time doing community work. This is a tribute to my team with the Vietnamese American Roundtable and the Vietnamese American Bar Association of Northern California, who dedicate and devote their time to the community. And I also have to thank the nonprofits that I have worked for, Catholic Charities, Asian Law Alliance, and Step Forward Foundation, who continue to serve the immigrant community throughout this pandemic. With VAR, we have been able to serve the Vietnamese American community by providing information and translation to the community, civic engagement work, and continuing racial equity and social justice work during this time of civil unrest and social reckoning by participating in rallies, unity events, and events for Black Lives Matter, anti-Asian hate, and reimagining community safety in Santa Clara County. VAR continues to support the community, and our community continues to remain really resilient in this time. It is important that we continue to work together and stand in unity to help the communities thrive and for the futures of little ones like Sophia. I say bye, Sophia. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, and thank you, Mimi. So next, I'm going to introduce our next organization, the Pakistani American Community Center. The Pakistani American Community Center is dedicated to preserving their cultural heritage and bridging the gap between Pakistan and the Pakistanis in the Bay Area. They pass along their cultural heritage from one generation to the next and share their heritage through multiple events, lectures, presentations, and classes throughout the year. So now I'm going to turn it over to Muneerah, who is going to introduce our next honoree.
Thank you so much. And good evening, everyone. I'm Manika Zeshan, President of Pakistani American Community Center. And I'm honored to be here representing Pakistani American Community Center on the celebration of API Heritage Month by Assembly Member Alex Lee. Thank you for the invitation, Assembly Member Lee. Pakistani American Community Center's mission is to promote Pakistani culture and serve the community. We are dedicated to enrich the community through entertainment, education, and outreach activities, which help bridge the gap between Pakistan and the local community. We take pride in working alongside many partner organizations in the Bay Area. Today, I am delighted to introduce a very dedicated individual who is being recognized as an honoree by Assembly Member Alex Lee, Muneerah Lalani. Muneerah has been serving PACC since a few years now as the Community Events Manager. She's focused on PACC's mission statement and has been advocating projects which greatly benefit Milpitas and Jose in the Greater Bay Area. She represents Pakistan as an impeccable Muslim and Pakistani American wherever she goes. She has helped PACC in organizing, hosting, and marketing many events. She has also been a valuable connection between PACC and other nonprofits, working for not just the Pakistani community, but the community in general, and the city and state officials. She has worked as an election observer with the Asian Law Alliance and trained as advocate in the last year's census, all part of PACC's collaboration with the city. She's active with sleeping bags for the homeless, Girl Scouts, Parents Booster Club. She's also head of operations at the local community center for Ismaili Muslims and was outreach manager for the Aga Khan Foundation's partnership, Walk-In, Northern California. She has been a UNICEF and WWF volunteer for more than 30 years now. I would now like to welcome Muneerah Lalani to receive this honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Muneerah. This is a journey we all take, and our journey is not possible without the countless people helping us along the way. First of all, I would like to thank PACC for giving me this platform. I would also like to thank my parents for guiding me, my husband and my daughter for encouraging me, and the countless friends and colleagues for supporting me in all my endeavors. Last but not least, thank you to Assembly Member Alex Lee and his office for bestowing this award on us. We look forward to his continued leadership and collaboration with his office. As a Pakistani and an Asian American, I'm proud to call the Bay Area my home. Thank you all again, and especially to all the organizations that I have worked with who have given me the opportunity to serve. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, and for all you do for the community. Next, I'm going to introduce our next organization, Lead Filipino. Through the powers of education and knowledge generation, Lead Filipino seeks to advance the involvement and increase the representation of Phil-Ams in civics, public policy development, and public service. And now I'm going to introduce Dr. Angela Cortez to present our next honoree.
Thank you so much, and good evening, everyone, and a big congratulations to all of the awardees. I know that the past couple of days have been heavy for our collective community, But I am here on behalf of the members, families, and students of Leadership, Education, Activism, and Dialogue in Lead Filipino. We are so proud to call San Jose our home. We work entirely around civic engagement and just recently became a recognized and registered and officially official 501c3 organization. We are so appreciative to Assembly Member Alex Lee, Anurag, Gabe Young, Chelsea, and the whole team over there for creating this room to honor our leaders and our advocates in the community. And Lead Filipino's story cannot begin without Razelle Buenavista, who is our awardee tonight. We are celebrating Razelle. She is a founding advisory board member of Lead Filipino. We are still a young organization and growing, but she has believed in us from the start. And our friendship goes beyond 10 years, and she has continued to be a personal mentor, a big sister, and such an embodiment of what sisterhood and sponsorship and mentorship and coaching looks like, not just to me, but for the thousands, and I will say that thousands of other young Asian Pacific Islander women and young men that she has touched through her work of over 25 years in the social services sector. If you don't know about Razelle, now you do. She is the managing director at Asian American Recovery Services, a program of Health Right 360, and oversees Alameda County's operations as well as Santa Clara County. They are a huge behavioral health service provider and is such a sponsor and believer of Lead Filipino. They are truly a sister organization. I first had the honor and delight of meeting Razelle over 10 years ago as one of the founding organizers. She puts on through ours, the Sister to Sister Conference, which really just uplifts the message of this month, which is that we show up for each other, we show out for our community, and we empower and we motivate and we inspire. So through her work with young API women in the areas of confidence and self-esteem, working as a counselor in our public school system, and then moving into social services. I don't think she ever left social services, but then moving within the ranks of leadership and always remembering to bring her community with her. I think she is emblematic of that and is such a model for us through and through. I couldn't think of anyone else that we ought to honor in this regard. Please help me give it up for Razelle. A huge congratulations to you, Razelle, from your Lead Filipino family, and of course ours. And I know you touched so many more in your various leadership roles in our community, throughout our region, state, and nation. Props to you, sister. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Del. So I think first off, I'm so used to giving praise to my staff and to others that receiving praise is really uncomfortable. But I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm going to own it today. I am so deeply humbled by this recognition. I knew as a teenager that I wanted a career in helping people, and what that career would be, I had no idea. I didn't know what social work was. I didn't understand public health. But what I did understand, that I was drawn to wanting to work with people who looked like me and who understood my culture without me having to explain it. So many in our Asian and Pacific Islander communities don't have the voice to ask or to demand for the types of services they need, or to express the concerns they have as individuals or their family and friends are going through. But I know that I do, and I know that I have a platform. And while I may not have the loudest voice, I know I am privileged to have the leadership role that I do, where I've dedicated my entire career to helping young emerging API leaders, to advocating for gender and culturally responsive services, and most recently, my passion to wanting to make sure that our API behavioral health workers are also being taken care of emotionally, as they're charged with having the most difficult job of helping our community members navigate through their feelings of anger and hurt and frustration through the pandemic and through the continued rise in Asian hate and racism. There's a saying that the heart work is hard work, and I will continue to persevere in that challenge, as ultimately I think it's a deep honor to do so. So thank you to Assembly Member Alex Lee for honoring and uplifting champions of this community. Thank you to my fellow honorees for the hard work you put in every day. Thank you to my family who allows me to work really long hours for the work that's important to my heart and to my well-being. And thank you to my people at Lead Filipino, Asian American Recovery Services, Health Right 360 for your continued belief in me to do this heart work. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for everything you do for the community. So next, I'm going to introduce our next organization, Asian Law Alliance. Asian Law Alliance is a nonprofit organization that through providing equal access to the justice system for Asian Pacific Islander and low-income populations in the Silicon Valley, and providing legal counseling, community education, and community organizing, they can promote self-sufficiency, self-reliance, and a better quality of life for all. And so now I'd like to turn it over to Richard from the Asian Law Alliance.
Thanks so much. I'm really honored to introduce Wesley Mukoyama. His LinkedIn profile states, quote, "I am an advocate for the elderly, particularly for seniors of color. I'm also a lay Buddhist chaplain advocating for reentry services through faith-based and county services to released inmates." Wes served in the Peace Corps for 2 years in the Solomon Islands. For 27 years, Wes worked for the Department of Veterans Affairs as a clinical mental health therapist. Wes was a board member of UICAI, the Japanese American Senior Center, for 15 years and executive director for 6 years. In 2017, he received the Norman Y. Mineta Lifetime Achievement Award from the Silicon Valley Asian Pacific American Democratic Club. As far back as 2010, Wes was concerned with the lack of representation by people of color on the Santa Clara City Council. He was one of the plaintiffs in the voting rights lawsuits filed against Santa Clara in 2017. Wes was willing to fight against the city of Santa Clara's power structure to achieve social change. The historic civil rights victory struck down the discriminatory at-large method of electing members to the city council and established district-based elections. As a result of this change, Raj Chahal was elected in November 2018, making him the first Asian American elected in the history of the city of Santa Clara. 2 Asian Americans, Kevin Park and Sej Jain, were elected to the city council in November 2020. The success of these 3 Asian Americans is due in large part to the commitment of Wes Mukoyama to fighting against racism and white supremacy. Wes, you are deserving of this recognition. Congratulations.
Thank you, Alex. And Namo Amida Butsu. I accept this in solemn for yesterday's disaster. Thank you, Honorable Assembly Member Alex Lee, for this honor, who incidentally randomly knocked at my house while he was campaigning. And I saw this young guy here, and he said, "Will you endorse me?" Of course, he's Asian, so I said, "Of course," and put my name on the endorsement list. So, thank you. I am accepting this award not only for myself alone, but on behalf of all of the other plaintiff members. Let me say who they are: Ladana Yumori Kaku, Mike Kaku, Umar Malik, and Herminio Fernando. And to the Asian Alliance, Law Alliance Executive Director, Richard Konda, and Robert Rubin, who has been a dedicated civil rights lawyer for many other cities, such as Santa Monica, Anaheim, advocating the California Civil Rights Act. And he convinced me to be a plaintiff, as well as Jackie Maruhashi, who used to work for Asian Law Alliance and recruited me in 2011. To the pro bono lawyers of Goldstein, Borgen, Dadarian, and Ho, of whom Mike Baller, the attorney who argued the case so effectively, as well as Ginger Grimes and Laura Ho, who led the legal team. Thanks to Paul Fong and Alex Mabanta, who led our campaigns on Measure A and Measure C in 2018 and 2020, the AAPI community, and other ethnic community-based organizations like the NAACP, who fought so hard to defeat these city-sponsored measures for 2 districts and 3 districts, respectively. To Alex Padilla, our U.S. Senator, who at that time was the California Secretary of State and spoke against Measure C. Thank you to the Santa Clara City voters who finally voted against both measures with a final no of a 2/3 majority, 66%. This is the first and only civil rights case that the whole Asian American community fought for in the USA. It is very significant. The only other was the Japanese Americans for incarceration camp, but that was just one ethnic group. I accept this honor with humility and pride for our Asian American Pacific Islander, African American, Latinx, Native American, Jewish Americans, Muslim Americans, and the disabled, LGBTQ, and all other minority communities who have suffered from systemic racism and discrimination throughout historically in the USA. Finally, to my wife and my family who have supported me all these years, and my grandchildren, and my faith in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. And Richard, I was in the Peace Corps for 6 years, 3 times, 3 different times, just to let you know. Thank you.
Thank you, Wesley, and thank you for all your work. So before we move on to the next one, now that we are done with the organizations, I wanted to acknowledge the elected officials that have registered or are here now. And if I miss your name, please let us know in the chat. MUSD Board President Chris Norwood, MUSD Board Vice President Kelly Yip Chuan, MUSD Board Member Han Lien, MUSD Superintendent Cheryl Jordan, BUSD Board Member Jai Shrivane-san, Santa Clara Council Member Kevin Park, and Andre from Senator Bob Wajkowski's office. And so next I would like to present on behalf of Assembly Member Alex Lee to Emerald Rubio. And I know he would like to present this himself, but he unfortunately can't be here. But we met Emerald when she reached out to our office when she had organized by herself a rally to stop AAPI hate in Milpitas. And so she is a lifelong activist for social justice issues. Emerald has continued to raise awareness of the ongoing attacks that have been impacting our AAPI community. She also serves as the PTA president at Joseph Weller Elementary School and works as an associate marriage family therapist at Uplift Family Services. She's also a survival of sexual trauma and had the honor of sharing her story at the first AAPI rally in Milpitas, where she organized. So I would like to honor Emerald.
Thank you so much. I think that all parts of your identity are so important in the journey that we face. So it's not about, all the work that I've done, but it's, as a mother, as a wife, as the eldest of 5, as a proud Filipina. And I can finally say that because so much of internalized racism that I had to face to finally embrace this brown hair and this round nose and tan skin. And so it's been quite the journey of embracing my Asian parts of me. And it's through the lived experience of surviving decades of physical, emotional, sexual trauma that I am so passionate about advocating for the healing process for not only within my Asian communities, BIPOC communities, but the world. I want the world to heal because underneath all this hate and all these violence is really, to me, unaddressed trauma. And so I just tell that part of myself because I want you to know why I do what I do. Because it's a lot. It's a lot. You give as a therapist, as an activist, as an advocate, trying to shed light on all the things that are going on in the world. It is a lot. So I'm really happy that you had shared, Razelle, the heaviness and that it is for Asian clinicians, Asian therapists. It is hard, but the fight is so worth it for me. Like what Charlize had said, in March, I spearheaded that protest because I was dealing with my own hurt, my own anger, and that was my way of projecting it out so that I can bring the community together. And since then, I have just been using my voice and amplifying my voice so I can bring light to the sexual violence and all the racial traumas that we've been experiencing, that it's not just because 2020. These are things that we've been experiencing, not within just our communities, but within our homes. And so I choose to be the voice. I choose to put my story out there because I hope to model the way in hopes that others will do the same and take their steps towards their healing. So it's not only that, because it's a lot to pour out all that activist energy, and then you have to kind of retreat back and then take that time to heal, but then also to remind yourself as Asians that we deserve joy. And so I use my love and my light to try to spark joy. So whether that's painting in the lunch benches outside to be COVID friendly, or dance in the field with the kids, or have safe talking circles for parents within my community, whether that's providing trauma-informed, culturally responsive, and for marginalized youth. I do it because God has brought me through so much. He's brought me through all of that. So I just want to spread that to others in hopes that they'll do the same. And so I wouldn't have done it, without God, my husband, my kids, my sisters, my mom, my dad, and everybody that has been part of my growth and healing process. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emerald, and thank you for sharing your story. And finally, our last organization is that we are going to honor tonight is San Jose Taiko. So San Jose Taiko is committed to advancing the Taiko art form by increasing the general public's knowledge of Taiko and its root culture and developing the depth and breadth of skill within the ever-expanding Taiko community. San Jose Taiko creates innovative performances and comprehensive educational programs, empowering diverse voices and educating across cultures to build a more accepting and engaging world. So now I'm going to turn it over to our representatives from San Jose Taiko.
Thank you, Assembly Member Lee and team, for this great honor. My name is Wisa Uemura, and I'm the Executive Director of San Jose Taiko. It is an honor to share this space with such powerful and inspirational people and organizations. Congratulations to all of the honorees tonight. I am proud to accept this award on behalf of the wonderful people of San Jose Taiko, the board, staff, and of course, our performers. San Jose Taiko promotes a more accepting and engaged world through the performance, outreach, and training programs based in Taiko, or Japanese drumming. As practitioners of an Asian American cultural art and as an organization with a strong sense of place, the commitment to serve San Jose, Japantown, and Asian American communities is a constant through line in our work. We believe the sound of the taiko speaks to something basic in human beings, transcending differences of race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, nation of origin, and even language. In a normal year, our performing ensemble provides a transformative experience of excellence in live contemporary taiko, reaching nearly 50,000 people in the larger San Francisco Bay Area and across the country. And although our in-person performances have been shut down for much of the past year, we were still able to produce a number of virtual programs like Swingposium, which employs the power of immersive taiko performance to teach about the Japanese American incarceration during World War II, as well as Obon at Home, which was a substitute for our annual summer festival performance in Japantown. Through these online performances and classes, we continue to share AAPI stories and values and the beauty of our cultural heritage. This is even more important during these times of social isolation and a rise in AAPI hate crimes. Locally, many of our staff and performers volunteer for our Japantown Prepared Safe from Hate safety patrols to assist and protect our community elders from harm. Although our work is most strongly connected to the Asian American community, we know its powerful sound can be extended to other communities of color. We must stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters of color to achieve peace, safety, equity, and true freedom and liberation for us all. We are proud to be Asian and will continue to uplift the stories and values of our AAPI community. Thank you very much.
And now will be followed by a performance from Jose Taiko that they provided us. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Thank you to our partner, Vietnamese American Roundtable, Asian Law Alliance, Lead Filipino, Pakistan American Community Center, and San Jose Taiko for partnering with us. Congratulations to all the honorees, and we wish you a great evening. We are actually ahead of time, so thank you for joining us. And on behalf of Assembly Member Lee, thank you to all the audience for joining us. I want to mention one last thing. Milpitas Unified School District has provided a certificate of recognition to all the honorees, which will be delivered along with the resolutions there are some number will be dropping. So thank you to Mapitas Unified board members and superintendent for recognizing our AAPI Heritage Month honorees. And again, if anything we can do for you, please feel free to contact our office, and wish you a great evening. And thank you for joining us today. Have a great evening. Thank you.